So Apple has announced that Logic Pro and Final Cut Pro will be coming to the iPad. And as a Logic Pro user myself, and after I did all my research, I do have some thoughts, some pros and cons about this that we have to wait and see that's going to work out. But I want to talk about it. First off, I'm Unique from 99 Doors Entertainment. I've been using Logic Pro since 2011. I also use Studio One. I have dibble and dabble with FL Studio here and there. So I know some DAWs. I do have my iPad here that I did production work on, and I also did video editing on. I have used Beatmaker 3 on this in the past. I also tried GarageBand on it, but I really didn't like it. When it comes down to this, I really know my stuff. I really know what I like. I'm excited for it, and I also see some cons about it that we're gonna talk about. Starting off with the first thing that a lot of people see as a con, and that's the price. A lot of people was hoping if you already brought Logic Pro for your computer that the license will automatically transfer over to the iPad version, but that's not what Apple went with. They actually went with a subscription model. As you can see here, the subscription model is $5.99 a month or $49 for the whole year, which I think that is great. That's wonderful. That's cheap, especially for a pro production tool that you can use to make money with. I know some producers that actually produce mainly on their iPad. So now that they can use Logic on their iPad, now that they have a pro DAW on their iPad, I think that's a great, especially for such a low price. $50 for a year is cheap for a DAW. So I don't see a problem with the pricing. And I hate subscriptions. Do not get it wrong. I do not want another subscription to pay for. But with this subscription, you will be able to make your money back. Think about if you sold one beat for $50, that paid for the whole year. If you mixed a song on your iPad for $50, that will pay for a whole year. If you sold 2 beats for $25, that will pay for the whole year. $50 for a year for a pro tool that you can use to make money off of, especially if you're a professional and you're doing this full time as a career. It's a steal to me. I think this is really a steal. And the biggest thing that I'm worried about, and that is storage. Now, I told you I have an iPad Air here, and with this, I have 64 gigs of storage on here, and I want to know exactly how much room is it going to take up on this iPad. I've seen all the features that it's coming with, the sound pads, the VSWs, all the functionality that they bring into the iPad is great, but how much room is it going to take up? Will I need a terabyte hard drive inside my iPad to even run it? Will it take up the whole 64 gigs I have on here? Will I have any room for anything else? That's not including any third-party software that I want to use with it, which I would get more into that a little later in the video. That's one of my biggest worries. The storage on here, how much room it's going to take, and how it's going to perform. I know it's optimized for the M1 and the M2 chips. Unfortunately, my iPad do not have the M1 chip in it, but according to the specs, my iPad will be able to run it. I am going to test it out on my iPad because you do get a month free. So I am going to test it out to see how do it run smoothly. Is it good enough for me to get my ideas out on it before I switch it over to Logic on my computer? These are things that I want to know about it, and these are the things that I'm really worried about it. Speaking on storage, I also seen that they will not allow any external SSD drive to run the project. They're going to have an external SSD, plug it into the iPad, and try to run it that way. They're not gonna have that supported at launch, so you will have to wait to the future to see if they're gonna implement that later on, but as of right now, that's not supported at launch. And I think it's really sucked, especially with Final Cut. Having a lot of video footage, especially if you got a lot of high def videos, editing it and transferring everything over, it's gonna take up a lot of storage, and I wish they would have the ability to plug in an SSD hard drive into your iPad so you can read everything off of it. One more thing that's holding me back from getting too excited about this is support from third-party plugins. I also use a lot of third-party plugins like Native Instruments and IZotope. Those are my two biggest plugin companies I use all the time, almost on every project. I'm not gonna have access to those right away on here, and I don't know how long it's gonna take them to update their sounds. So I'm hoping the sounds that they add to Logic Pro really counteracts the fact I'm not gonna have my third-party VSTs on my iPad to use, to function with, to start producing and mixing and mastering with. I will be going back to straight stock plugins and stock sound, which the stock plugins and stock sounds are great, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna run great on the iPad, but it's the comfortability that I am with my third-party software that's gonna slow it down a little little bit more on my iPad. But again, I'm still excited because I know Logic got great stock plugins. I was using them for years. Now let's switch it up and talk about some good real quick. They will be adding new sounds and new sound pads. I'm excited about that. I probably won't use a lot of these sound pads because I like creating my own sounds and my own melodies. But if you just getting into production or you like using loops, you will have a lot of loops that you can use. You will be able to get into the workflow that way. They have been upgrading Logic a lot. I'm pretty sure that the upgrades they do to Logic for the iPad will be great. I'm just waiting to see, and I think it's gonna be a powerful tool when they do release. The touch functionality look great, especially with the automation with the pen, and being able to go in and draw your automation is gonna be so helpful, so useful. I'm excited for this because I have a MacBook Air. This is what I use for the main driver in my studio, and it's great. But it sucks when I have to unplug everything from my MacBook Air and take it out on the road and do a whole bunch of stuff, do production work with it and everything. And I really wanted to use this for production work, but even with Beatmaker 3, it's a whole different software I had to learn. I never really sat down and learned everything, but having Logic on my iPad, I'm hoping the workflow is recognizable on the iPad so I can easily pick it up and get to work. I know there's gonna be some things I'm still gonna have to learn about it, but I'm hoping that it's comfortable enough that I can just jump in and get to creating. I think it's gonna be great, especially when I'm working on sound pads. So work on it on my iPad and not sitting in the studio at my desk all the time when I need to get out the studio, but I still need to get some work. Taking my iPad with me will be a lot easier than taking my computer with me everywhere I go. Again, I'm excited for it. I'm not trying to downplay it, but I can't get too excited for it because I don't know exactly how it's gonna run. I don't know how the storage situation gonna work out. I have a lot of questions. I'm just waiting for answers. But if you want to test it out, you want to try it out, it will be released at May 23rd, a little later on this month. Definitely pick it up. Again, you get a month's free, so you can test it out, try it out, see if you like it, see if it's gonna better your workflow. I see this really being somebody main driver, somebody main DAW that they use and really make all their money off of. Again, I already know some producers that use their iPad for their main production. They sit in the studio, produce on their iPad. So with Logic coming to it and they starting to use Logic, I can really see that this is gonna change the game. This is a conversation, it was off the dome. I was just speaking my mind. I wanted to talk about it. So let's keep the conversation going down in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts. Let me know your pros, your cons. Let me know how you feel about it down in the comments. If you like videos like this where I just sit back, talk to y'all, and ramble on, hit that like and that subscribe button for me. Let me know how I can improve for y'all. And I'll check y'all out later. Deuces.